Good morning, children. Today I'm going to start with the next chapter from your moment book, Weathering the Storm in Erisma. In this video, I'm going to tell you the introduction, theme, message, title, and summary of this chapter. We cannot stop natural disasters, but we can arm ourselves with knowledge. So many lives wouldn't have to be lost if there was enough disaster preparedness. I'm going to tell you about the author. Harsh Mender is an Indian author, columnist, researcher, teacher, and social activist who works with survivors of mass violence and hunger, as well as homeless persons and street children. He is the director of the Center for Equity Studies, a research organization based in New Delhi. He was born on 17th April 1955 and died at the age of 65. He was born in Shillong. By profession, he was author, columnist, researcher, teacher, social activist. Education, he got the education from Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam, St. Stephen's College. Here's the introduction of the chapter. Natural disasters are extremely devastating and can completely disrupt human life. However, human bonding and selfless service surely help to rebuild what has been lost. Weathering the Storm in Erisma is one such account that celebrates a brief tale of survival in the cyclone that hit Orissa in October 1999. Is a theme of the chapter Weathering the Storm in Erisma, written by Harsh Mender. When a natural calamity like a storm takes place, people are put to a lot of suffering. Apart from the help of government provides, the members of the community should also mobilize themselves to solve their problems. In this story, we see how a young boy, hardly 19 years old, takes the initiative and helps the member of the community to stand on their feet. His leadership qualities are praised. Here I want to tell you about the title, the justification of the title. A superstorm happens in Erisma in Orissa state in 1999. A boy called Prashant sees nearly 2,500 people in a pitiable condition in storm shelter. He mobilized the people to help themselves and provide succor to them. He arranged accommodation and food for them. Even after the storm was over, for several months, he was involved in rehabilitation work for the community. Since the article speaks about the efforts of the people to overcome the destruction caused by the storm, the title is appropriate. Here is a message given by the writer. This lesson conveys the message that when a natural calamity strikes, the members of the community should help themselves. They should not be totally dependent upon the government to provide help. It also gives the message that the youth have a major role to play in organizing the community to help themselves. Youth should provide a leadership role to solve the problems of the common people. In this lesson, we see the leadership provided by Prashant during the superstorm in Orissa village. We should specially concentrate our efforts on women and children who form the most vulnerable section of society. So here is the summary of this chapter. Prashant, a 19-year-old boy from the village Kalikuda in Orissa, had lost his mother 7 years ago. On 27th October 1999, he went away to spend a day with his friend who lived at the block headquarters of Erisma, that was around 18 kilometers from Calcutta. That evening, Prashant witnessed a fearsome storm. He had never been seen such a speed and fury of winds. Heavy and continuous rain followed and uprooted even the ancient trees. The screams of people resounded in the air, and the houses were washed away. The house of Prashant's friend was filled neck deep by flood water. Fortunately, the building was made of brick and mortar, and it withstood the strong winds blowing at the speed of 350 km per hour. But the roof and the walls of the house got damaged when the uprooted trees fell on the house at midnight. This devastating cause by the cyclone continued for the next 36 hours. However, the wind speed did reduce a little. By next morning, Prashant and his friend's family took refuge on the roof of the house. Prashant was horrified to see the destruction caused by the super cyclone. Only a brown sheet of water covering everything for miles could be seen. Very few broken cement houses still stood in some places. The bloated, dead bodies of animals and humans floated everywhere. Luckily, 2 coconut trees fell on the house of Prashant's friend, and the trapped family survived by eating the tender coconuts. Prashant sat in the open for 2 days, huddled on the rooftop with his friend's family. The continuous rain froze them in cold, but Prashant's only thoughts were about the well-being of his family. Then the rain stopped and water began to recede. Prashant decided to find his family, but the situation was still dangerous. His friend's family requested him to stay back a little longer, but the boy was determined. He prepared to leave and took a long sturdy stick with him on his journey back to his village. He moved through swollen flood waters by using the stick to locate the road and determine shallow path. He covered the difficult journey by slowing down his pace where water was waist deep and by swimming where he lost the road. After some time, he found 2 friends of his uncle who were also returning to the village. The 3 of them moved further together. Moving through flood waters, they saw horrifying scenes. Dead bodies of humans and animals had to be pushed away many times to make their way. Every village they passed had barely a house left. Prashant wept loudly for a long time on witnessing such gory scenes. He was sure that his family was no more. Eventually, Prashant reached Calcutta, and his heart sank, for he could see only the remnants of the roof of his house. He decided to go to the Red Cross shelter to look for his family. There he could spot his maternal grandmother, who was weak with hunger. Teary-eyed, she rushed to him with outstretched hands. Quickly the news of Prashant's arrival spread and more members of his family gathered around him. It was a miracle for them to see Prashant, as they had thought him to be dead. Next morning, Prashant grasped the situation of their shelter and noticed that the 2,500 people were there in grief. 86 people of his village had died. All 96 houses had been washed away. Everyone had been in this shelter since the past 4 days. So far, they had survived on green coconuts, which were to finish soon. The young boy decided to lead the hungry and tired people in this moment of crisis. He organized a group of youths and elders to put pressure on the village merchant to give them rice. This effort succeeded, and the group returned to the shelter with food for everyone. Although the rice was already rotten, but the hungry crowd did not mind. Broken branches were gathered to cook the rice, and people ate for the first time in 4 days. The next task was to clean the filth that had got collected in the shelter and tend to the wounds and fractures of the injured. On the fifth day, a military helicopter flew over the shelter and dropped some food parcels. However, this help did not return. So the youth collected empty utensils and placed them on the stomachs of the children who were made to lie in the sand left by flood waters. This message got communicated effectively, and helicopters began to make regular rounds to airdrop food and other basic needs. Prashant brought together the orphan children and put up a polythene sheet shelter for them. Women were asked to look after them, and men would bring food and other materials. Weeks passed, and Prashant noticed that people were becoming depressed. He persuaded women to start working in a food for work program that had been started by an NGO. He organized sports events for children. He himself loved cricket, so he organized cricket matches. Prashant, along with other volunteers, helped the widows and children to resume normal life. Group successfully resisted the government's plan to set up institutions for orphans and widows. They believed that in such institutions, children would grow up without love and widows would suffer from loneliness and stigma. They decided to settle them in their own communities in new foster families made up of childless widows and orphan children. 6 months after the destructive super cyclone, Prashant forgot his own sorrow being a motherless boy. His handsome face is a source of light for the orphans and widows in his village. Children, here the story ends. Now, taking a view of the desperate situation, Prashant displayed all qualities and values of a good leader and set about the task of rehabilitation. Yet quickly sensed that the already bad situation would get worse if things were not taken under control. Displaying organizational abilities, Prashant mobilized groups of young and elderly to get food by forcing the village merchant to part with rice. All the people were united, and young volunteers, they helped to clean the surroundings and help the injured one. And it was mainly because of Prashant's courage, compassion, humility and foresight that things started improving and life got back to normalcy. And because of the selfless efforts of community, the manner in which people of the community helped one another by procuring food, cleaning the area and tending to the injured, teach the values of camaraderie and brotherhood. The positive role played by them is resettling the widows, and the children emphasize the values of initiative, commitment and leadership. The devotion with which orphans were taken care of by the women and men highlight the value of volunteer work. Thus, the efforts made via community help not only rescue the flood victims but also brought lasting human values to the fore. So, we should learn something from this chapter, that at the time of crisis, we all should be united. We should stand together and help each other. Children, if you are having any doubt regarding this chapter, you can contact me. Thank you. Have a nice day.